Gentlemen, let's turn our attention to West Ham. Before we discuss the Hammers, we've already heard from Carlo Ancelotti, so here's David Moyes.
David, would you summarise that game as being very frustrating? Is that the best word to describe it?
Yeah, I would say so. We were frustrated, certainly not to take something out of the game, which I think we deserved. We had enough of the ball, and it was a game where there wasn't that many chances, but we gave them a terrible opportunity to score, which they took. But apart from that, I thought we played quite well. Our attacking play wasn't good enough. When we get in and around the box, we couldn't find the final pass, or we couldn't make a good enough cross, or we didn't connect well enough with the ball. So, but we still didn't deserve to lose the game, that's for sure.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? And I was surprised to see there were no shots on target from you. Is that as much about how well Everton defended?
I think so. I'd have to put that down to that. I mean, look, I have to say we played very well against Burnley in midweek. We had 22 attempts at goal, but they weren't all on target. So I'm well aware that it's an area where we have to do much better. We need quality to make the difference in the games which really matter. And you tend to find the top sides who are up round the top of the league have quite often of the quality which can do that.
I feel this season, and certainly in the past few weeks, so many teams are finding the same struggles finding the back of the net. You decided to go with the same team once again. Do you think they did lack a bit of that freshness?
No, I don't think they did. I actually thought that we played very well, but I think that we didn't have many choices. That would be one thing. We didn't have many people we could make change. In fact, I don't think we had any. Maybe Jared Bowen. But apart from that, we're sort of quite short in the squad at the moment. We're certainly missing Declan Rice, which we couldn't miss him at worst time. You've got England injured playing for England, which is even worse. So it's not as if he even get injured playing for West Ham. So
he wasn't. Sorry to interrupt, but he wasn't quite ready for today. I know a lot of fans hope to see him. Will he be ready for Brighton, do you think?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Yeah. And finally, obviously a huge opportunity. How do you see this fight for Europe now?
I think that result today will probably make it very difficult to be classed as a contender for the top four, because I felt as if we need to win all the games. But who knows? Football's strange. It's been very strange. If we could win our last 3 games, let's see what's happening. But we've got to make sure that we win the next one, and then we can decide where we go from there.
Just finally, can I ask, you seem to be very frustrated about Richarlison's antics, should I say. What did you make of him going down so many times, and the nature of it?
No, I think more importantly, I've been disappointed with the refereeing standards throughout the country this year, and so no problems with MD. I wouldn't talk about other players anywhere. I try not to.
Fair enough. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks to Addison Bender and David Moyes. The race to Europe, this is interesting. Now, we're not going to put the Manchester clubs in this list, but Chelsea, they've got Arsenal, they've got Leicester, and then Aston Villa to finish up the season. As for Leicester, they have, I think it's safe to say, the toughest run in Manchester United away. Then they've got Chelsea and Tottenham to wrap up the season. They also have an FA Cup final to think about against Chelsea as well before they play them in the league. Brighton, West Brom and Southampton for West Ham. Probably the kindest run-in would belong to the Hammers. Liverpool, they've got their 4 games. Manchester United away after the original fixture was postponed. West Brom, Burnley and Crystal Palace are the other fixtures. Tottenham have got Wolves, Villa. Final day once again, it's Leicester. And Everton, a question which was posed to Carlo Ancelotti just now as well, as Villa, Sheffield United, Wolves and finally against Manchester City, who we probably expect would already be crowned champions at that point. And, of course, as we know, we'll have a Champions League final to think about just a week later. 7 or so days after the season ends. They will be in Istanbul as it currently stands to take on Chelsea. Who's got the toughest run in there? It has to be Leicester, surely, Matt. And I'm thinking back the last 2 seasons, they've spent 1 day out of the top 4. And that was on the final day of last season when they lost at home against Manchester United, which was a straight shootout to see who would be in Europe, or at least the Champions League this season.
Yeah, I feel for Leicester. You look at that, and they're not, they're coming off the back of another defeat. They've got 3 tough games, and I just feel in some ways I want them to get in the top 4 because of what they've done so far this season and for the previous season. And they've just, as you say, they were out of the top 4 in that one day, and it was the last day of the season. It's got to be gutting for them. But unfortunately, if you're going to get in Europe, you need to beat these top teams, and if you're going to beat the likes of Man United, Chelsea, you're going to have to go and do that, and the only way to do that is to win them games and get yourself in Europe.
Yeah, and let's not forget, there might be other permutations. If Chelsea were to then go on a torrid run of form in the Premier League, but win the Champions League and not finish in the top four, they will get a spot in Europe as well. So there's still a lot of different mathematical probabilities to work out. But Victor, if you had to say, who's finishing behind the two Manchester clubs? I know you're smiling right now, but who are you putting in for a spot in the Champions League next season? Who's taking third, who's taking fourth?
I think Chelsea. I think they're so consistent. I think Chelsea will finish in the top four, and I have a really sneaky. Me and Matt were talking about it earlier. I can just see Liverpool finishing there. I really can. It won't be nice for Leicester. I can just see Liverpool sneaking in there at the end. It's possible. Tottenham are a bit too inconsistent, but I can see Liverpool sneaking in there. But if Leicester do have aspirations to finish in the top four, they need to go away and beat Manchester United, or get a result against United, Chelsea and Tottenham, if they want to finish there. So it's in Leicester's hands, but it's an incredibly tough ask.
Quick one.
It's going to be tough as well because of Chelsea. With the cup finals, Man City, they're playing other teams around, and and they've got the Champions League. They could have already won the title. It's who you're playing at that particular time, because they could be focusing on other things, and that's always the difficult one.